Hello. In the last video we got our character moving, so I'm just going to show you what happened there. Yeah, just to open this up so that it's going to take a while to load. There it goes. And yeah, here's what we got up to in the last stage. We got our character jumping around nicely, moving up and down correctly, and getting stuck if he goes anywhere that's 2 blocks high. So now we've got to add in all the other sprites, which is our boxes is going to potentially crush our character. So to do that, we just got to go to Resources up here, Create Sprite. And what we've been doing SPR underscore, then whatever material box we're using. The boxes we got, we're going to start off with a stone one, so stone, load sprite, and there should be a stone box right there. For some reason we also got a rock one, but I think stone's better. And we're going to leave the X and Y to 0 and just press OK. We're going to quickly load up the rest of them. So I'm going to click on this Pac-Man's icon, which is create the sprites. So SPR underscore, and the next one we're going to be using is a card. And card box. Okay. Load sprite. I believe next one is metal. Helps if I can spell it. There we go, metal box. Click. My OK is going lower and lower. And finally, we have underscore wood. We have a wooden box. And very quickly, we're going to turn these into objects. So, I'm going to click on, go to Resources, Create Object. So, obj underscore start a card, load up card. And what we're going to do with every single one of these, because our character is going to be reacting to solid objects. Remember, solid to click on. And then click OK. And I'm going to quickly create the rest of them. So I'm going to click on this ball icon, which is create an object. So here. Very annoying that my computer's doing that, but what a. Stone. Stone. Solid. OK. Underscore, now have I got metal. Get the metal. Solid. OK. And finally the wooden one. Sorry, got a bit of a sticky throat there. Underscore wood. Solid. OK. So there we go, very quickly we've got objects. Now, the interesting thing that's going to happen with our objects is that they're going to be able to crush each other, and someone's not going to be able to crush the other. Kind of interesting there. So I've just made this little table just to clarify. So if we think of it this way, card cannot crush anything. So card is the one that's always going to be crushed. Next up we have the wooden one, which crushes the card. And then we have the metal one, which crushes the wood and the card. And next we have the stone, which crushes everything, including the metal one. I'm not sure how that works, but okay. So I'm going to put that to the side as my little guide. So the one we're going to start off with is the stone one. So if we have a look at our table, the stone one crushes everything. So I'm going to open up the stone object and move this around. There we go, that's a bit better. Actually, I'm going to move my screw, make it a bit wider. There we go. So now what we want to create another object. So we don't want to use the stone object there. We want to create a different one called falling stone. So we've got our normal stones, the solids are there. And what's going to happen is that our objects are going to fall and then switch to the plain ones. Sounds a bit tricky. So yeah, we're going to create another one. So I'm going to create another object. You've got to get used to creating lots and lots of objects. So obj underscore falling underscore stone. Loading up the stone sprite, and we're also going to make sure the solid is turned on. So now we're going to do, when it's created, so add event, create, and we're going to add the jump position. So here we go. We're going to, this tutorial relies heavily on the jump to position. So I'm going to bring that into there. And this one is going to keep falling. Now this one's going to be a quite interesting one, because when it's created, it's instantly going to jump to wherever our character is along the X. So with this, I can put in OBJ, whatever you've typed in for your Lazarus stand one, underscore Laz underscore stand. If you've spelt yours differently on the standing object of your Lazarus character, make sure you've got it exactly the way you have it here. If you've followed me exactly and you've given it the object the same name, type exactly what I have. So, dot X. So we're going to follow wherever this is along the bottom, so left and right is going to follow our object, and Y is just going to go to minus 40, and that's what you got to do. Just click OK. And the next thing we're going to do is jump to the top here. So now we need to get it to fall, so that's when the fixed movement comes into play. So I'm going to bring in the fixed movement, and it's going to be moving down at a speed of 5. And we don't need that tick, just leave that as it is. So down and 5. OK. And now we've got to add a collision. So I'm going to click Add Event, Collision. I'm going to have it collide with our standing objects, so stand. And what we're going to do now, we're going to change it to another object. So it's going to be our squished one. So there's our object squished we made in the previous video. So I'm going to go to main 1. And here we have change instance. Now this time we don't want the block to change itself to the squished one, because that's not going to make any sense. It's going to react with the other object, thus the Lazarus one. So click on Other, which is the other object involved in the collision, not ourselves. And we're going to change it into the squished one. There we go, if my computer decides to work. And yes, we wanted to perform events. We haven't programmed. Oh yes, we have programmed some events where it restarts the game. So yeah, we want that happening. So those are the basics that's going to be in all the shapes. And now we've got to add another collision to the wall. This is another one. So add event, collision with the wall object that's going to remain at the bottom at all times. This is going to stop the object moving. So we're going to go to Move tab up here, and we're going to change its movement self. We'll click the middle box and set the speed to 0. That's fine. So click OK. And we're going to change it to our normal standing object. So we're going to go to main 1, change instance. It's going to apply to itself, and it's going to change itself from the falling stone to the normal stone object. And this is the one that's going to sit still and wait until it's crushed, etc. And we want to perform an event? No, we do not. We're just going to leave it as it is. So click OK. And now we've got to add more collisions to the other objects. So we're going to add an event that's going to include itself as a box. So add event, collision with object stone with itself. This stone one is going to have the same exact actions as the wall one, so I could go into it and add a fixed movement and get it to change itself to stone, or I can cheat and select the ones from the object wall, right click, copy, go to the stone object that has nothing inside of it yet, and simply just paste that in. It's exactly the same. It's going to stop moving and it's going to change itself to stone. Now if you remember, the stone object, it crushes all the other ones, so we're going to get it to destroy all the other objects. So we're going to add event, collision, this time with the card, the softest of all the materials, and we're going to add in a recycle one. So destroy instance. So I'm going to drag that from the objects in main 1 tab. Oh, that's popping up again. That's very silly. For the main 1 tab, we want destroy instance. Drag that in, and we want to switch it to other, the other object involved in the collision. This being the card. Just click OK. And I'm going to copy this destroy instance, so copy, add event, collision, and I'm going to add one for the metal, and I'm going to paste in the delete one, the delete instance I copied from the card, because stone crushes metal apparently, so there's instructions tell me, and the same for the wooden one. So add event, collision, wood object. Then I'm going to right click and paste. So looking to my chart again, stone crushes metal, wood and card. So the wood is destroyed, the metal is destroyed, and so is the card. But the stone, it's when it hits itself, it stands still, and the same with the wall. If you follow this pattern, you will add collisions to all the other objects, so you're going to create more falling objects, and they are going to respond differently. So I'm going to go through with you how to create all the other objects. You're going to follow the very similar pattern to this. So you can click OK, and we've got falling stone. I'm going to create another object. I'm going to move it into position since this is acting up a wee bit. It's rather annoying. And this one is going to be obj underscore falling underscore metal. Oh, delete capital M, just metal. We're going to load in the metal sprite, making sure it's a solid. So there's your setup at the beginning. We're going to add event, create, and we're going to get this to jump to position just like we did before. So we're going to type in obj underscore LAZ, Laz underscore stand dot X. Remember the dot X because we want it on the X position. And Y minus 40. We don't need relative checked, we just leave it as it is. So we've got that. And then we're going to get it to move down again, so we're going to bring in the fixed movement of it moving down with a speed of 5. Okay, so that's our create done again. And like before, we're going to start doing our collisions, so it starts colliding with the stand object. And this is when it's going to change its instance. So go to main 1 tab, change instance, other, because it's involving the other object in the collision, to squashed. And yes, we want it to perform its event. Click OK. And next one, we're going to add the collision to the wall. And now this is the one where it stops moving, so we bring in the move, fixed move, and we tell it to stay still. So you just select the center and click OK. And then we want it to switch itself with the still metal box. So we're going to go onto the main 1. I'm going to drag in change instance of itself to, where is it? Object metal. And note it doesn't have any events to perform, so we're going to click OK. And I'm going to copy these two because I'm going to put them into the other objects that it doesn't crush. So I'm going to copy these. And let's remind ourselves, what does it crush? Well, we've got metal. It crushes wood and card, but not stone. So stone and metal, it will not crush those two, but the next two below it, it will. So add event, collision, the next one stone, right click and paste, because we pasted from the wall 1. So those two are the same. Add event, collision, and this time of itself, the metal, right click and paste. So now we've got to get it to crush the others. So add event, collision with the wooden box, and this time it's going to delete or destroy the instance of other. So it's, when you have other on, it's the other object involved in the collision. So self would mean the metal, other would be the wooden object. So click OK, add event, collision with the card, and I'm going to destroy the instance of other again. And there we go, that's that one done. You're going to have to do this for the other two now. It does take a while to do this, but there we go. So I'm going to do this a bit faster now. So this one, let's have a look at my chart, is going to be the wood one, which only destroys the card. For the others, it does not. It's going to be quite simple now. So object underscore falling underscore wood. Make sure you got the wood sprite, and solid is ticked. Add event. When it's created, it's going to jump to obj underscore stand underscore obj underscore LAZ underscore stand. See, I nearly got it wrong there. Dot X. Y is going to be minus 40. Click OK and bring in the fixed movement, which is down by 5. Oop, not 55. That'll be really too fast. Click OK. Add event. Now we're going to be doing the collisions. So first of all, the stand, where we are going to, I remember, main 1, change instance of the other object, remember other, to Laz squished, or yeah, and yes to perform event so that it activates the restart. Okay, and then we're going to move on to collision with the wall. And we're going to bring in the fixed movement, so I'm going to go to Move tab, bring in the fixed movement, and just select the center box and leave the speed at 0 and click OK. And then we're going to change the instance of this, so go to the Main 1 tab, and in the object section bring in change instance, and it's going to apply to itself, and we're going to change it to the object wood. Where is it? There it is. Object wood. And nope, doesn't have any events to perform, so click OK. Then, as a little cheat to make things go faster, I'm going to select that, hold shift, then right click and copy, and the other objects it does not crush is the stone, metal and itself, but it does destroy the card, so bear that in mind. So very quickly, collision with stone, right click and paste, add event, collision with metal, right click, paste, add event, collision with itself, right click, paste, and now the final one, the card, collision with, there's card, but this time we're going to bring in the destroy instance with other. Then click OK. That's the wooden one taken care of. So let's click OK. So let's look at our chart again. We've got the card which destroys nothing. So we don't need to add the destroy instance. We can just paste in the one where it stops moving and it switches itself to the normal card where it doesn't move at all. So minimize that. And finally, create an object. Moves up here. obj underscore falling underscore card icon or card sprite. Solid is ticked. Add event like before. Create. Make sure you're in the Move tab, and we've got the jump to position right here. And this one is SPR underscore Laz underscore stand dot X. No, I forgot that. Y is going to be -40 and click OK. And then we're going to get to move. So fixed movement of itself. It's going to move down with speed of 5. Click OK. Add event, and we're going to get the collisions set up. So collision with Laz stand, and this is where it switches. So Main 1 tab, change instance of the other object involved in the collision. We're going to change it to, I'm just going to move this to the side so you can see. Change the object to the squished one. And yes, we want it to restart the game, perform its event. Click OK. And then we can move on to the ones that start moving. So add event, collision with the wall. And in here, if I just remember correctly, we're going to get to stop moving. So the Move tab, get the fixed movement, applies to itself, stops moving, and speed is 0 because it stopped moving. And then go back to the Main 1 tab. In the object selection, we want second row, first object, which is change instance, and it's going to apply to itself. It's going to change itself to the normal card. There it is, object card. perform event. No, it doesn't have any event to perform, so leave it as that. And again, hold shift, click on one of the actions, hold shift and click on the other, then right click and copy, or Control C for those who are more familiar with those commands. And very quickly add the collision to all the other objects. So with the stone, right click and paste, add event, collision, and we've got metal, right click and paste. Now remember, the card doesn't destroy anything, so we don't need to do the delete command. So collision with the wood, paste, add event, collision with itself, right click, paste. And there you go, we've added all the lovely collisions to the objects there. So I'm going to click OK and be proud that's all done. But you may think, ah, phew, I've done that. No, we're not quite there yet. We've got to add the events to create the boxes and bring them, and basically show which objects are coming up next, and then get them to actually fall down on command.